First one, Kane, See No Evil. I remember this movie came out. I saw it in Vegas. My friends me and my friends went to Vegas. We were like 8th grade going to 9th grade this summer, and we rented it on the hotel room, where before it came out on DVD they let you rent. You can rent it for like $20 or $15 on the TV. And I've seen this movie that time, and I've seen this movie about 3 times. It's not bad. It's an enjoyable movie. It's got some good special features. Kane's not bad. He's a good villain. It is what it is. It's probably better than what most people would think. Snakes on a Plane. This movie's kind of in the same realm. I saw this in theaters the first day it came out, and I was so pumped for it. I was like, fuck yeah, this shit's gonna be awesome. I'm just into it, and it's not a bad movie. It's not a good movie maybe, but it's enjoyable. Samuel L. Jackson's good. It's a fun movie. I like it. I got both these at the pawn shop. Now this one cost me a little bit of money, and because I know I've been said I was gonna review it, but then I never did. Hostel 3. This is kind of a special box. It's a lot thicker than other boxes, and it's a very nice Blu-ray. Directed by Scott Spiegel. The commentary, it has one special feature which I've heard. It's a commentary with Scott Spiegel and Kip Pardue. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He's the blonde guy in the movie. He's in the movie 13 also. And I hadn't seen this movie since it came out. When I first saw this movie, I was so fucking high. Who knows? So then I watched it and I was like, oh, this movie's not that good. After I reviewed 1 and 2, I made videos when we first started making videos, and I bought this just so I could review it. But and I was kind of disappointed. I was like, and I just did other shit. But I'm gonna review this movie one day. But not a great movie. Good. I mean, if you love Hostel 1 and 2, it's worth watching. Now, Hostel 1 and 2 double feature. These movies are absolutely amazing. If you've seen my reviews, those reviews are just starting when we just started to know what we were doing editing wise. But that was before I had structure, like my script. I would just go in front of the camera like this and just talk. And it was just like a 30-minute take, and I'm stuttering and fucking. And this shit was embarrassing. But it made me figure out that I need to structure these videos, do several takes, and write down a script and do kind of like a commentary. But I love these movies, you know. I love Hostel 1 and 2. I had so much. I was obsessed with Part 1 when it came out in 8th grade. It was my favorite movie at the time. I love Eli Roth. Quentin Tarantino Presents. Absolutely amazing. This one also has an alternate opening of Part 1. Alternate ending, not opening. Ending of Part 1. I don't like the ending that much. I'm glad they changed it, but it's on there. So if you want to watch it, this is an amazing. So Hostel 1 and 2, double feature. This is an amazing movie. Menace to Society, the Hughes brothers' first movie. Holy fucking shit, this movie is so powerful, sad, entertaining, well made. Oh man, if you've never seen this movie, I don't want to. It's just fucking amazing. Like, really good special features. It's got good commentary and good documentaries. These guys grew up in Pomona, and that's what this kind of movie is based on. They're like the lifestyle in Pomona, even though it takes place in like South Central. But I live in Pomona, so I can really relate to this movie because this town is fucking horrible, man. It's just meth heads and homeless and fucking murder. This town sucks. It does. But I love this movie, Menace to Society, and the Hughes brothers are so amazing. It's a pretty cool double feature. No special features though. It's the Scream Queen. I think it's at Scream Factory, The Fog, and The Howling. I don't really like The Howling that much. I love Joe Dante, but you know, I haven't seen The Howling since I was a kid. I haven't rewatched it on Blu-ray. But The Fog is really good. But a lot of people like it a lot more than I do. And this is only like $10. But they have them separately. Scream Factory has each one of their own separately. of these movies, and they're hooked up with special features. This has no special features, so I might buy the Fog one day just for its special features. Even though I have it, I remember watching it all on DVD. I'm not obsessed with either of those movies, but I like them. One of the movies that absolutely changed my life. Say hello to my little friend, Scarface. Directed by Brian De Palma, starring Al Pacino, written by Oliver Stone. This movie's hooked up with special features. Hooked up. And it's got so many great documentaries. I love it. This movie, this was the first movie I ever saw at the Egyptian Theater. I was in 5th grade. I actually have the screenplay of it. Yeah, I'm gonna just show you that. Fuck it. Mom, this was my Christmas present in 5th grade because I was so obsessed with Scarface that my uncle took me to see it in theaters and he bought me this. The actual screenplay. Not like they would sell screenplay. There was a store that he would go to and they would sell the screenplays in Hollywood, and he had a couple. He bought me this, From Dusk Till Dawn, Pulp Fiction. I remember he had the Royal Tenenbaums, which me and my uncle, when I get my external Blu-ray player to rip off the Blu-rays, we're gonna do the Royal Tenenbaums. So that'll be like one of my first reviews when I come back. But Scarface, this is one of the greatest movies ever. My room as a kid was covered with Scarface posters. It's fucking amazing. I think everyone's seen Scarface. If you haven't, what the fuck are you doing? Watch Scarface. And buy this Blu-ray because it's hooked up with special features. This is also directed by Brian De Palma, one of his best movies. I bought this movie because of I saw a review of Cody Leach. He did it for his I think a Patreon, or his friend, or I think it was one of his friends. I think he was like, I don't want to get into it, but Dressed to Kill. This movie is fucking badass. It's got some good special features, good documentaries with some interviews. And when I first watched this movie, I put it on like 3 times and I couldn't get past the first 10-15 minutes. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't understand this movie. But then when you hit this 20-minute mark, after this one thing, which I won't say happens, the rest of the movie is edge of your seat. Holy fucking shit. I can't believe what I'm watching. What's next? What's next? What's next? It's such a great fucking movie. You just gotta be a little patient with this movie. Like 20 minutes, because the beginning is kind of confusing. But I love that movie, Dressed to Kill. This is a sequel to 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, Jonah Hill, Channing Tatum. I love these guys. Hooked up special features. But I don't have part 1. I just got this at a pawn shop. I bought a lot of these at a pawn shop. But yeah, this movie's really fucking funny. Jonah Hill's amazing. Now he's an amazing director. They're just so awesome together. And yeah, great movie. Watch part 1 and part 2. Alright. So now is the Predator box set. And I don't think this has any special features. It just has the first Predator, Predator Part 2, and then Predators, the one with Adrian Brody and Topher Grace. And honestly, that one's my favorite one. I just got this on sale at when the last Predator came out in theaters, which I still haven't seen. I need to see it, but I've been hearing so many bad things I've been kind of afraid to. I was too busy when it came out in theaters. But yeah, Predators, people fucking love this movie. The first one is badass. Part 2 is kind of whatever. You know, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. With the one with Gary Busey and I think Danny Glover. But to be honest, the one I like the most is the one with Adrian Brody, because that one came out like maybe my time. And no, but I like that one more. You know, I just do. But Arnold Schwarzenegger, fucking badass. This Predator. Swingers. Directed by Doug Liman. Most people would think that Jon Favreau directed this, but he didn't direct it. He wrote it and starred in it. This was his baby, though. I love this movie. I grew up with this movie on VHS. It's got hooked up special features, commentary, a lot of documentaries, because this was the movie that got him to be huge stars. You know, this movie completely changed their lives. And I fucking love this movie. It's really funny, but sincere and low budget. Just an amazing like indie comedy. House of Wax remake. I had fun with this movie. It's got some good special features. I remember the very first time when I saw this in theaters, my uncle took me to my Uncle Paul took me to Six Flags, and it was the first time I ever been to Six Flags. He let me ditch school. He took me to Six Flags, but there was nobody there, so we went on all the rides. And then we went on all the rides twice, and it was like, there's nothing to do. So we left, and I fell asleep in the car, and then I woke up, we were pulling in, he was like, wake up, and we were at the AMC around there. I'm not sure exactly what city it was, though. It wasn't an AMC I'd ever seen, and he was like, let's go to the movies, and we saw this movie in theaters. And, so yeah, it was just an amazing day. And, you know, this movie could be cheesy, considered a lame remake, but, I had fun with it. It's a pretty good, it's rated R. It's got some good deaths, you know. It's got some good deaths and special effects. I've seen a lot worse remakes. I've seen a lot worse. Maybe you might consider this one a worse remake. I don't. Friday the 13th, the final cut. Marcus Nispel, the guy who directed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. You know what? This movie has a lot of faults, but it has a lot of things going for it too. And, oh my god, when I saw this in theaters, this was the first rated R ticket I bought with like my student ID when I just turned 17. And me and my friend, we left school. We had just we were walking home from school. There was a movie theater and a CVS, and I was like, this is when we were starting to be bad. I was like, hey, how about I'll go buy a ticket to the Friday the 13th. I'll buy us both tickets, and then you go into the CVS, my friend Hector, and you go steal us some alcohol. This fool comes out with he goes into the CVS, he shoplifts 2 fucking bottles of Bacardi, one dark and then one light. We go to the movie, where I buy a soda, we pour the fucking soda, we're drinking the dark soda, the dark Bacardi, and then we pour the light Bacardi into the Sprite. We were so fucking tore up, it was like, oh, we were fucking screaming at the screen. I don't think we even finished like the last 10-15 minutes of the movie because we were just so fucked up. And yeah, it was a crazy day. I used to look at that as much more memory, like much more of a good memory and fun, but it's embarrassing, but fuck it. It's a good day. I missed school the next day too, I remember, because I was just barfing all day. 300. This is a good movie. Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder directed the Dawn of the Dead remake before this, but this is a movie that really fucking put him on the map, where it was like, holy shit, dude, because I don't know. Maybe people might have looked down on that one because it was a remake, but people love that fucking movie. And this is a cool movie. I've never been way too into it. I remember my friends were so goddamn into it when it came out, but it's a dope fucking movie. It's got some special features. Yeah, it's got some special features. So yeah, 300. It's such a fucking flawless movie. I love this director. It's amazing. Heat. This one has got some good special features. I think it has like an interview with Christopher Nolan. Yeah, Christopher Nolan interviews Michael Mann. It's got a lot of good documentaries, deleted scenes, Pacino and De Niro conversation. And just, this movie is absolutely epic. One of the greatest fucking action movies of all time. And dramas. It's, Jesus Christ. Just everything about this movie is amazing. I love it. Heat. Michael Mann is such a good director. Shutter Island, Martin Scorsese's horror movie. I think you can consider, Cape Fear. He made Cape Fear, which is a remake, but that movie is a scary movie. I kind of consider that a horror movie. And this is kind of him going back to horror. And some people even consider Taxi Driver a horror movie, which I don't think, it has horror elements maybe, but I think this was a movie where he was like, his most of a horror movie, you know? And I'm not obsessed with this movie. I remember we saw this, me and my friends, it was the week we turned 18. One of my friends had turned 21, so we went to Vegas, and we all took ecstasy, and we saw this on the Strip, like the Las Vegas Strip, that main movie theater, and none of us wanted to sit in the movie because we were on ecstasy, and we were just like, when's this gonna end, you know? And like, we just want to go, we want to go, fucking all drugged out. But I've seen it a couple times since, and it's not amazing, but this movie is what it is. Which is a fucking Scorsese movie. It's definitely not my favorite Scorsese movie though. Definitely not. But I like it. I like it. Damn, I remember when I saw this in theaters, Zoolander. It was me, my mom, and my older sister Brittany, and it was so fucking funny. This movie is so goddamn funny. Ben Stiller is such a good director. Just such a good director. And, Zoolander. This movie's fucking hilarious. It's got some really good special features on here. You should check them out. If you like this movie, you should buy this Blu-ray because it's hooked up with special features. I'm obsessed with special features. Zoolander. Now this is an incredibly important Blu-ray to me because it was one of the very first Blu-rays I ever bought. The Lookout. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's, what's his name? Jeff Daniels, Matthew Good, and Isla Fisher. This movie is so underrated and so fucking badass. Just such a good movie. It's a great thriller, and it's not too violent, not too crazy, but it's just so well made. And I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character and his performance. And he plays this kid who gets into a car accident, and he loses like a part of his brain where he has to write everything down, and he can only remember his past. He can't remember anything new, and so he's just like, he's brain damaged, And I won't say anything more because if most people haven't seen this movie, it did really good with the critics, but nobody really watched it when it came out, and it's fucking amazing. I really think it's the reason why I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt, because he made this movie, and I know he loves this fucking movie. Yes. The Mummy. It's the ultimate collection. It has The Mummy, The Mummy Returns, Tomb of the Dragon Empire, which is part 3, and it also has The Scorpion King. Very cool Blu-ray. I bought this on sale when the Tom Cruise Mummy came out, and which didn't do good. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't talk shit. But I like these movies. I saw the first one. I saw the first two in the drive-in, the Zusa drive-in, before they shut that one down, and I was such a little kid. I remember I fell asleep during part 2. But these movies came out the first two came out when I was really young, and I really enjoyed them. I love those the callbacks to like Universal monster movies, and I'm glad that they made this movie. The CGI is kind of dated in part 1, but I love these movies. I love Brendan Fraser, and it's the Scorpion King. I have 2 copies of the Scorpion King because I have this, and then I also have you'll see in my rock collection, where it's a collection of rock movies. So yeah, this has some pretty good special features. There's the Mummy. The Mummy's badass. Alright, here we got The Others. I've only seen this movie once when it came out in theaters. I remember me and my Uncle Paul and his friend Jeff saw it in theaters, and I remember like the ending, but I haven't rewatched it since I bought it on Blu-ray. Looks like it's got some special features on there, but I'll watch it again. I remember liking it and loving it. Oh man, Sinister. Fucking love this one. When this movie came out, I was so obsessed with it, but I was so fucking drugged out. But I've rewatched it sober, and I love this movie. It's a genuinely scary movie. This has some amazing special features. There's one about like true crime writers and people who study crime for their living, and because that's what Ethan Hawke does in this movie, and it talks a lot about the Black Dahlia murder, and just amazing special features on this movie. Like, I'd buy this Blu-ray even if I didn't like the movie, because the documentaries are so good. True crime authors featurette. Really fucking good, but I love this movie. Sinister. Entourage, the movie. I love this movie. Entourage was such an influence on my life. I think I got into it like when season 2 or 3 premiered, and I watched every single episode every Sunday. I'm obsessed with HBO, and that was such a good thing in my life. Every Sunday when HBO had good shows, and we just keep watching it, before the next day would be back to school. And Entourage is so important. It really influenced me in my life and as a human being of want to be a movie star and wanting that lifestyle, you know. And Vinny Chase, some people call him like douches, but in some aspects they are a little bit. Like Turtle and Drama could be a douche, whatever. But Vince is a good guy, and I love this movie. And it was, to see this in theaters was so fucking amazing. It was just like, whoa, this was so much fun. It's a fun movie, and Haley Joel Osment is amazing in this movie. I hadn't seen him pull out a good performance in a long time. I think I just seen him in that movie Tusk, the Kevin Smith movie. I remember thinking, man, he sucks in this movie. But then he was Haley Joel Osment is amazing in that movie. So Entourage, the movie. I don't think you need to see the show to watch that movie, but it's so much better if you do. Another TV turned movie, South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. This movie is incredibly important to me. This Blu-ray has a commentary, which is not on the DVD. It was made for this Blu-ray. It's a commentary by Matt Stone and Trey Parker, but they also bring in random people. Like, people come in and they stay for like 10 to 15 minutes and they leave. And one of the people, there's people who worked on the show, and a lot of them work on the show, have been working on the show since they've been working on the movie. And so they asked them their experience. So they talk a lot about that the Phantom of the Menace came out. They also, and during the movie, and there was this big thing like, we can't work, dude, we're gonna go see fucking Phantom of the Menace. Really good commentary. Trey Parker and Matt Stone are hilarious. Also, Bill Hader is on the commentary from Saturday Night Live because he works on the show now. He does a lot of voices too for South Park. And this is just an amazing movie. So funny, so fucking funny. I love it. I saw this in theaters when I was like 2nd or 3rd grade. I begged my mom, and I remember the girl, when we bought the tickets, she's like, you don't want to bring your kid into watching this movie. Do you understand what this movie is? She's like, he's never gonna shut up, just fucking give us the tickets. And you know, it's them seeing a rated R movie in theaters, and it was like them watching the Terrence. That's what the movie's about. Them little kids seeing a rated R movie in theaters, and they're dancing on the seats while they're fucking listening to Terrence and Phillips sing "Shut Your Fucking Face, Uncle Fucker," and it was like, oh my god, it was just so good. I remember when I wanted to dance, fucking just jump up on my seat and start dancing. This is a movie, so yeah, South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Cut. Love that movie. This is a movie that a lot of people don't like, but I love it. Piranha. Really fun movie. I love Alexander Aja. I love that Eli Roth is in it. And it's just a fucking gore fest, you know? It's cheesy, but it's supposed to be fucking cheesy. What do you expect out of a Piranha remake? You know, this movie just takes a concept and then just changes everything else. It's not a strict remake at all. It does whatever it wants, you know? And I think that was the way to go, because the concept was good enough, but Piranha, the original, is what it is from Joe Dante. But that's Alexander Aja. Took the High Tension, the Hills of Eyes remake, and Mirrors. Really good, cool director. This is a movie, the Tupac movie, All Eyes on Me. And it's got some good special features. I saw this movie twice in theaters. I remember I was having a really bad week. I was trying to get sober, and I was just like angry at everything. And I went to go see it the opening night by myself. And I was just like, fuck yeah, it was so amazing. It made my week. And then I saw it on the day before 4th of July on a date with this girl. I really liked it. So and since I've watched it on Blu-ray, I haven't liked it as much. But it's a good movie. If you're interested in Tupac, you should check it out. This is the Hannibal collection. It's got Manhunter, Silence of the Lambs, and Hannibal. I love these movies. I love Manhunter and I love Silence of the Lambs. Hannibal is what it is, you know. But my favorite of all those movies are Red Dragon, which it's not in here, and I don't have. No. But the Hannibal collection, I don't think it has any special features. But I got this for like $10. I like Walmart. So yeah, everybody knows Hannibal the Cannibal. 127 hours. I saw this in theaters and I fucking love it. James Franco is like my top 3 favorite actors of all time. He's an inspiration as a human being. I met him and I've had a great conversation with him, and I love James Franco. This is a movie that it put him on a different sort of level of acting, you know, like with for like critics and stuff. He was a huge movie star after Spider-Man and, you know, Spider-Man movies, but this, he got nominated for Academy Award for this, and it's Danny Boyle such an entertaining story where his arm is trapped in that fucking thing. The whole movie is him losing his mind and him hallucinating. And Danny Boyle, they really this movie could have been boring or lame, but it wasn't at all. The direction is amazing. You really believe James Franco. The editing is amazing. The editing is amazing in this movie. I've never seen this movie. I have never even, it's not even open yet. It's called The Tin Man. I remember when it came out. I think it's on a Sci-Fi Channel movie. And, The Tin Man, I think it's like his own story. Yeah, The Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz. I love the Wizard of Oz. My friend just gave this to me randomly. He was like, I don't know, you want this? And I was like, all right, sure. And so I might watch one day because I do love The Wizard of Oz, but who knows when. So I can't really say anything else about it. Take Me Home Tonight. Topher Grace, Anna Faris. I fucking love this movie. It's really, really funny. Topher Grace helped write this movie. I always kind of look at it as like his sequel to That 70s Show because it's about him in the 80s and like the college years, his life. And really, really funny movie. I like this comedy a lot. It's a good comedy. So and I love that song, the 80s. It's based on that song. It's not in the movie, but it's in the trailer. The Take Me Home Tonight. I don't want to lose your love in a single fight. I remember after I watched that movie, I was getting all fucked up listening to that song. And yeah, Take Me Home Tonight. Good movie. Alright, next I got Deadpool 1, Deadpool 2, but this is the PG-13 version with Fred Savage. I like these movies enough to have them on Blu-ray, but I don't love them. I think they're entertaining movies. I'm definitely not as horny as everybody else is about them and Ryan Reynolds. Drag Me to Hell, Sam Raimi, his PG-13 horror movie. This movie is fucking crazy. I love this movie. And you could think this movie is stupid, which maybe in a sense it kind of is. But fuck it, this movie's awesome. It's so entertaining, so much fun. Everything about this movie is just fun. The makeup effects and oh my god, it's crazy. If you've never seen this movie, the guy who made the original Evil Dead and he also made the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, watch this movie. Fucking amazing. So as I said, I mentioned earlier, The Rock triple feature. It's got Doom, The Scorpion King, and The Rundown. I bought this because I'm obsessed with Doom and I wanted to watch Doom that weekend. And but then I watched The Rundown and I was like, holy shit, dude, I never seen The Rundown. It was like, this movie's fucking badass. It doesn't have any special features, but it was like $10 for 3 movies. So you can't really complain. But I love Doom. I have a poster of it in my closet. When you open up my closet door, there's the Doom. Had a lot of fun with that movie in theaters. One of the first Radar movies I saw in theaters without an adult was me and my cousin. We somehow snuck into it. This movie, such a great comedy. Cedar Rapids. I love this movie. Ed Helms is so good. It's got a lot of special features. The director of it is Miguel Arteta. He directed The Good Girl with Jake Gyllenhaal and Jennifer Aniston. I fucking love that movie. That movie's it's funny, but it's incredibly sad and a really dark, dramatic romance movie. But it's not on Blu-ray. But I love this movie. This movie is kind of a maybe not a black comedy, but I don't know. Him and John C. Reilly are so fucking funny in it. The girl who maybe from Arrested Development is in it, and I always like seeing her in anything because I really like her. But this movie's really funny. John C. Reilly and Ed Helms are really funny in this movie. There's also a character, I forget I think he's a lawyer in The Wire, but and then he's in this movie and he mentions twice that he's obsessed with The Wire and he quotes Omar, so it was really cool. And they didn't write it for him, he just happened to be in The Wire and then he auditioned for the role. And I'm obsessed with The Wire. It's a really great show. So if you like The Wire, you might like this, just so you'll be like, oh shit, that's funny. Frankenweenie, the Tim Burton movie. You know, I grew up with the Nightmare Before Christmas DVD, and Frankenweenie was like one of the first things he ever made. He made like a short movie called Frankenweenie. It was a black and white movie with the mom was Shelley Duvall from The Shining. And so when this came out, I had to watch it because I had grew up with the short movie. He also had another short movie on there called Vincent. And it's a really good movie. It's a good movie. It's really good. Wes Anderson's The Grand Budapest. I actually have not seen this movie yet. I bought this a couple years ago and I still haven't seen it. But it was only like $5 at Target, so I said fuck it, I'll buy it. I really love Wes Anderson's first 3 movies. After that, they're good, but they're not great to me. People like his newer movies more, but I'm obsessed with like The Royal Tenenbaums, Rushmore, and Bottle Rocket. Everything after that is kind of downhill for me. They're not bad, they're just not as good. The Hangover Part 1. Fuck yeah, this movie's so epic. I love Vegas. I love movies in Vegas. And it's hooked up with special features. There's not much to say about this movie other than it's completely fucking badass. It's kind of like almost a crime, like a mystery movie of we have to follow our events of what we did last night to fucking find Doug. And just such an amazing movie. Just the cinematography and just the look, because most movies in Vegas are always at night, and this movie's like almost the whole time's in the daytime, you know. And it was just a very original movie, very original, and it doesn't hold back on the comedy or like the nastiness, you know. And it's just a good R-rated comedy. Watch The Hangover if you've never seen it. Apocalypse Now. This movie's crazy. I think this has it has 2 versions of it. See, there's 2 credits. Includes Apocalypse Now, then Apocalypse Now Redux. I've never been way too obsessed with this movie, but I've always enjoyed it. I love Martin Sheen. I love Dennis Hopper in it. And Marlon Brando's fucking great in it. He's like the crazy homeless guy you listen to outside, and then you're like, why am I still listening to this guy? He's fucking insane. But I remember about a year ago, me and my friend, we dropped acid, and we saw this movie at the Egyptian Theater, and I can't even get into the details of that day, but it was fucking crazy. John Hughes' Uncle Buck, starring the legendary John Candy and Macaulay Culkin. I love this movie. This was one of the first VHSs I ever had, and this is just a good comedy. It's good for the whole family. John Candy is so underrated now. And he's so fucking funny. Macaulay Culkin is so funny. There's just so many great parts to this movie. I love this movie. I grew up with it. It's John Hughes. He wrote and directed this. You know, everybody knows what John Hughes is. Breakfast Club, 16 Candles. He even wrote Home Alone. This is when he met Macaulay Culkin. And he said, I like this kid and I'm going to write a movie for him. And he wrote Home Alone. American History X. This movie is insane. I remember I bought the DVD like in 4th grade. My sister explained the opening curb stomping scene to me when I was like 3rd or 4th grade. And I was like, I fucking have to watch this movie, so I just bought the DVD. And I remember watching it with my mom, and my mom was like, what the fuck did I just buy you? And I have a lot of stories with this movie, but I'll get into that when I review this movie, because I'm going to review this movie one day because it's so fucking amazing. Amazing, dark, but overall positive movie. It has a positive message. About white supremacy, but also just about gangs, you know, because white supremacy is just like any other gang, Mexican, black, whatever, you know. It's just a stupid gang, but insanely sad, epic movie. Sin City. Wow, when this movie came out, I saw it 3 times in theaters. I was so fucking horny over it. I loved absolutely every single moment. Just hooked up with special features. Pretty much every Robert Rodriguez movie he does, he hooks it up with special features because he edits every one of his movies, and this movie is fucking amazing. Amazing. Sin City, man. I'll review that one day too. Hellraiser, it's 4 movies, it's not the good ones. I've never even seen any of these movies. Everyone says they're shit. But I love the first 2, and I figured one day I'll give these a watch, and if I ever review the Hellraiser series, which I plan to, I want to review all of them, because once I start a series, I want to finish them, you know? So there's not much I can say about these movies. These are like, Bloodline, Inferno, Hellseeker, and Hellworld. I've seen reviews on all these movies, though. Roman Polanski's Chinatown. This is a good movie. I don't think it's amazing. I don't love it, but one of Polanski's best. I don't think to me, Rosemary's Baby is his best. I love Rosemary's Baby. But this is a good movie. It's got some good special features. Good. It's got a commentary with Robert Towne and David Fincher. David Fincher, the guy who directed Gone Girl and Panic Room and Zodiac. So it was really cool to listen to him talk about it. Good special features. Slipcover. So yeah, good movie. About the Watergate scandal. Jack Nicholson, one of his best performances. True story with James Franco and Jonah Hill. I remember I saw this in theaters. I was getting high in the movie theater while watching this. This was when I was at my worst stage. One of my worst stages of drug use. But it was like, fuck yeah, they're making a... That's a dark story. It's unlike... I mean, James Franco's obsessed with crime movies. If you watch the movies he's directed before The Disaster Artist, like Child of God, As I Lay Dying, he did a few William Faulkner novels. He didn't direct this though. This is a true story. It's based on a true story. And it's about James Franco murders his family. He murders his like 2 daughters. I think they're 2 daughters. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're both daughters. And he murders his wife and he throws them like in a suitcase. And then he pretends to be Jonah Hill is working, I think, for the New York Times. But then he gets fired for falsifying, making up some shit about a story. Then James Franco, when he's living in Mexico and he's saying that he's Jonah Hill's character, when he gets arrested, yeah, he says he was his character. So Jonah Hill meets him and he's like, "Why did you use me?" And he's like, "Because I'm obsessed with you, man. I think you're my favorite writer, and I'll let you write a book about me, but only if you teach me how to write." And it's the whole movie basically them in prison, talking, and amazing performances. Amazing performance. I really like this movie. The Evil Dead remake, very good movie, very good remake. I have a few problems with it, but overall, a really good movie. It's got some good special features on there too. So yeah, you know Evil Dead. You know this is a remake. This director's really good. Fede Alvarez. He directed Don't Breathe. It's a fucking amazing movie. Killing Them Softly. I love this movie. I saw this in theaters. I remember I saw this and The Collection in theaters, which is a sequel to The Collector. And it was just like 2 fucking badass movies in a row. It's just a great like crime movie, and it's got so many good actors: Richard Jenkins, James Gandolfini, Ray Liotta, Ben Mendelsohn. He's a good actor. But I really like seeing this movie because it had Brad Pitt and James Gandolfini reuniting, and after True Romance. But this isn't even the first movie they reunited with. It's the second movie they reunited with is The Mexican, which I saw in theaters. I love The Mexican. But this is a really, really good movie. If you haven't seen this movie, check it out. Another Brad Pitt movie, Snatch. This movie's fucking badass. This movie's just a fun, crazy movie. I think this is Guy Ritchie at his best, you know? This is the movie he made after Lock, Stock, and Two Barrels, which also has Jason Statham. This movie's crazy. It's just a really fun, funny, violent movie. We're the Millers. It's got like that 3D cover, slip cover. And just a good comedy. A funny comedy. Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Rings, Part 1, steel box. To be honest, I don't really like steel boxes. I think they take up too much room. But they are cool. And I love Lord of the Rings. I was obsessed. I saw all 3 of them like 3 times each in the theaters. I read the first book. That shit came out when I was in 6th grade. And it was just... Lord of the Rings is such an epic movie. Neighbors, Seth Rogen, Zac Efron. This is a really, really funny movie. Hooked up with some really good special features. Really, really funny. I love Zac Efron. I love Seth Rogen. And it was so awesome to see them together. I've always liked Zac Efron. Ever since I saw 17 again. I've always known he was a good actor. And it's got so many great people in this. It's got Dave Franco, Hannibal Buress, however you pronounce his last name, and Jamard Carmichael, which I saw do stand-up before this movie. I met him when he did stand-up, just like at this little taco place in LA. And then when I watched this movie, I was like, hey, I fucking met that guy. I had no idea that he was going to be this famous, and it was awesome to see him. He's, I forget his character's name. Can't Hardly Wait. I grew up with this movie on VHS, and I had the soundtrack. This movie is so much fun. It's so fucking funny. I love this movie. One of the best like PG-13 comedies ever. The whole movie takes place in one night after they graduate high school. It's just a party after graduation, and it's incredibly funny, but it's sincere. It's a sincere comedy. I love this movie. So if you've never seen this movie, watch this movie. Can't hardly wait. Like one of the best 90s comedies to me. Double feature, Swingers and Maid. Maid is technically not the sequel to it. They play different characters, but I always look at it as like the sequel. I love both these movies. I already went through Swingers because I had the original one, but this one doesn't have special features. I bought this a little while ago because I needed Maid on Blu-ray, and this is the only way I could get it. I have no problems with owning more than one copy of a movie, but really, really good movies. Maid is actually the first movie that Jon Favreau directed, and it's kind of like this gangster crime comedy. And he was on The Sopranos playing himself in season 2, and there's a lot of people on The Sopranos that are in Maid, like Adriana, Furio, Sal, Pussy Bopancero. He's in that movie, probably has the biggest part. Really good movie. I recommend both of them. But Maid should get more attention. I love Maid. Demons. It's Lamberto Bava. Dario Argento presents. This movie is fucking insane. This is actually an old friend's movie, but we got into a fight, so I don't think we're gonna talk again. So if he asks for this back, I'll give it back to him. But he has a couple of my movies too. Demons. It's this. I don't want to get into the story because it's a long thing, but if you like kind of like grindhouse exploitation horror movies, this movie's fucking insane, and I totally recommend it. It's not for everybody. Incredibly violent and bloody, very bloody, kind of a gross out horror movie, but really good movie. Really good movie. '21. I love this movie. This movie, I remember when it first came out, I thought it was gonna be stupid, and I didn't. My friend was like, "No, it's actually really good," and I didn't watch it till like maybe 2 years ago on Netflix, and I was like, "Holy shit, dude, this movie's fucking badass." I really enjoyed it. It was incredibly entertaining, and I've watched it a couple times since, and I think it's amazing. It's got some really good special features. I think Kevin Spacey is amazing in this movie. He may be a sick fuck. I haven't really looked into all of his details of like his whole sex scandal, but no matter what, he's an amazing actor, and he did some amazing movies. And this is one of them. 21. Very entertaining Vegas movie. It's all about counting cards and them cheating the system at the casino and getting rich off of it. A really good movie. 21. There Will Be Blood. Paul Thomas Anderson. Paul Thomas Anderson is one of my favorite directors of all time, because he directed my favorite movie of all time, Boogie Nights. And honestly, this is my least favorite of his movies. I don't think it's a bad movie, but it's just my least favorite. I don't connect to it that well, but it's an amazing movie. Good special features. And Daniel Day-Lewis, man. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Daniel Day-Lewis. I think his best movie ever is Gangs of New York. Like, everything he does is amazing, but I don't care that much about the characters he chooses. But so it's a good movie. Hall Pass. This movie is so fucking funny. It's the Farley brothers. They made There's Something About Mary. Me, Myself, and Irene. What's that bowling movie with Woody Harrelson? I forget, but they're so fucking funny, dude. And this is one of their best comedies. This movie is just laugh out loud hilarious. I fucking crack up every time I watch this movie. So if you've never seen this movie, watch it. If you want to have a good time watching a good comedy, watch this movie. The Bank Job. This movie is so badass. Me and my friend Andrew, we saw this in theaters. It must have been like 9th or 10th grade, and we just had a great fucking time watching it. This is directed by Roger Donaldson, and Roger Donaldson, he directed a Robin Williams movie I love, which nobody ever watches, called Cadillac Man. It's like Tim Robbins' first movie. It's him and Tim Robbins. That movie's amazing. It's not on Blu-ray. I have it on DVD though. But The Bank Job, this is based on a true story. Who knows how much of it is really true? But this movie's really entertaining. Gets violent. It's kind of scary. It's a good fucking crime movie. It's a heist movie. Yeah, The Bank Job. Jason Statham, man, one of his absolute best and underrated movies. the bank job. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, directed by Philip Kaufman. This is the 70s version. Came out in 1978. It's like Donald Sutherland, Jeff Goldblum, Veronica Cartwright, Leonard Nimoy, Star Trek. It's a really good movie. I never seen it. I just bought it because it was cheap at Walmart, and I'm really glad I bought it. There's been a lot of versions of this movie, and I think I saw the first one. I think it's in the 50s. But amazing story. This story always holds up. Next is The Descent. This movie is absolutely insane. It is so goddamn bloody. It's a little slow, but man, once the violence hits, it's just non-stop. I remember me and like a group of friends saw it. We had just come back from Vegas, and the next day my mom took us to go see this. She didn't watch it. She bought her tickets, and then she left. But the whole movie, we just had the whole theater to ourselves, and we were cheering and screaming, and it was like a grindhouse experience, man. We just had the whole theater to ourselves, and this movie is insane. If you're a horror fan, you should definitely watch this. It's Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's got some good special features on here. I like this movie. I had never watched it. I just bought it because I remember my mom's old boyfriend as a kid talking about it. He's like, that's a good movie. I've just heard enough about it, and it was cheap, so I said, fuck it. And I had a good time watching this movie. It's a fun movie. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Glad I own it. Ted, starring Mark Wahlberg and Seth MacFarlane, directed by Seth MacFarlane. This is a really, really funny movie. This movie could have been really stupid, a guy and his teddy bear, but it holds up, man. It is fucking funny, man. It is funny. This is one of my favorite comedies of all time. I grew up with this movie. Basketball. This stars Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the guys who created South Park. They didn't direct this movie, though. From what I hear, they don't like this movie. They think it's stupid. And there's a lot to go into that, but I fucking love it, man. And I've heard a lot of people say this movie's fucking stupid. And it is stupid, but it's fucking funny. It's funny, man. The Wolfman remake with Benicio del Toro and Anthony Hopkins. It's a good movie. It's a good remake, but I'm not gonna lie. I don't like the CGI that much. You know, the CGI is kind of the biggest downfall of this movie. But it's good. Good remake. It's definitely doesn't hold a candle to the original one. The original one, Lon Chaney. This is the most entertaining, like, Universal classic monster movie out there, I think. Like, I just think Lon Chaney, the script and the direction is perfect. It keeps my attention the whole movie, and it's got some great special features on there. But I love this movie. I have the rest on DVD, like Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon. But this is the only one that I have on Blu-ray. Because I love this movie. I'm gonna buy the rest one day. But I love this fucking movie. Lon Chaney, man. Lon Chaney. Oh, no, it's not Lon. It's Lon Chaney Jr. Sorry. Lon Chaney Jr., his son. I'm Not Ashamed. Most people are thinking, what the fuck is this movie? That cover looks weird or gay, whatever. This movie is the true story of Rachel Joy Scott. She is the first victim of the Columbine shooting, and I'm obsessed. My life goal, if I had one goal in life where God came down and said, what's the one thing you want to do? Shoot for the stars. You could bring someone back from the dead. You could have a magic power. What would you do? And for years, it's been, I want to make a Columbine movie where it starts off on the first day of high school. I want to call it Class of 1999 and have it the whole year until the graduation day, until a couple weeks after they did the massacre. And this movie is basically that, but it's all about Rachel Joy Scott, the first victim. It's her first day of school and it's her life. But it has a handful of scenes with Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris, the two shooters. And so I had to watch it. I just had to watch it. I don't think I even watched it before I bought it. I just bought it. And it's a good movie, but it's made by like some Christian company. Because Rachel Joy Scott was like a diehard Christian, you know? And really into her beliefs and her religion. So this movie, it has its violence, you know? It has the massacre. So if you want to see the massacre, the Columbine massacre, you'll see it. And it has scenes with both the shooters. but they took out a lot of scenes, and it's trying to do this like kind of overall God message, which it is what it is, you know. And this movie could have been better, but it's pretty good. If you're interested in like the Columbine shootings, watch this movie. It's got some good special features. It has interviews with some of the people that knew her, that lived in Columbine. Columbine's a high school. It's Littleton, Colorado. That's the city. Next, I have Paranormal Activity Part 1 and Part 2. These movies, you know, a lot of people don't like them, or think they're boring, but fuck, and for what the money that they had, it's kind of like it's like the Blair Witch, where it's like these are just two. It was a couple in their house that said, "Let's make a fucking movie with my camera." And I was very impressed by with the money they had and the little. It's an impressive movie for people who want to make movies. It might not be that special to people who don't want to make movies, but as someone who's an aspiring filmmaker and knows how hard it is to fucking make a movie, I 100% respect that movie. Next, I have Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula. Bram Stoker's Dracula. But it's directed by Francis Ford Coppola. This movie has so many amazing people in it. Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder, Anthony Hopkins, Keanu Reeves. And it's fucking Francis Ford Coppola. Him coming to make this horror movie. Shit is awesome. This is a good movie. It's not great. It could have been better. But it's a good movie. If you're into that stuff, if you like Dracula and vampires, you should watch this movie. Alright, next I have a triple feature. The Goonies, Gremlins, and Gremlins Part 2. I love all these movies. I think I bought it because I wanted to watch The Goonies, because I'm obsessed with Corey Feldman, and then on Christmas a couple years ago, I rewatched Gremlins 1 and 2, and it was like I hadn't seen those movies since I was a kid, and I just made a video of Gremlins a couple weeks ago. And it doesn't have the special features on the back, but it actually it does have some special features. Not a lot, but each one of them has like a little bit of making of, or music video. It has a Goonies music video. I just love these movies. What is there really to say about these movies? I'll review Goonies one day, Richard Donner and Joe Dante. Next one is this indie movie called The Little Hours. Audrey Plaza, John C. Reilly, Molly Shannon, Fred Armisen, Dave Franco. I just bought this movie because I had heard about it and I missed it in theaters. It was only played like in LA when it came out. It wasn't a big movie. It's about nuns in the priesthood, but it's a hard R. They have like orgies and they're cussing the whole time, and this movie's very sexual. Yeah, like I remember watching it with my friend and I could just like hear his heavy breathing, like, holy shit, dude, fucking Audrey Plaza. And I was like, oh, like, I mean, Audrey Plaza's fucking hot. Everybody knows that. But it's a good movie. It could have been better, a little bit better to me. But very interesting movie, The Little Hours. I'm glad I own it. This is a movie I absolutely love. This is a movie really inspired me as a writer. Sam Mendes is The Revolutionary Road with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. They're them reuniting after Titanic. This movie's nothing like Titanic. I mean, both of them are technically. You could maybe say this movie's a romance, but honestly, this movie's about falling out of love. It's the romance at the end and them realizing they're not meant for each other. And it's an incredibly dark movie. But the script, it's basically just them fighting. A married couple just fighting and fighting and fighting. But I love it, man. It's got some really funny moments. Michael Shannon is amazing in this movie. If you know who Michael Shannon is, oh my god, he is amazing in this movie. So Revolutionary Road, it's not for everybody, but I really recommend it. And Sam Mendes is the guy who made Road to Perdition and American Beauty. Year One, I haven't even opened this. Another friend gave this to me. I watched this once when it came out. It came out when I was in high school. It's produced by Judd Apatow, and it's Harold Ramis. Harold Ramis directed it. This movie, oh my fucking god, LA Confidential. It's Curtis Hanson. I put his movies together. I have his next one. Wow, this movie, it's based on a novel by James Ellroy. James Ellroy is an amazing crime writer. I think he wrote the book for the Black Dahlia murder. He spent years and years on that, and a lot of that bled out into this movie. It'll be better if you just don't know about this movie. If you just go into it, it's a mystery crime movie about it takes place in Hollywood in the 50s. Every actor in this movie is amazing. Russell Crowe, Guy Pearce, Kim Basinger, Danny DeVito, Kevin Spacey. This is one of my favorite Kevin Spacey movies of all time. Like I said, say what you want about him. He did what he did, or he didn't do what he do, whatever. Probably, who knows? But who really knows? But I can't hate him because he made this fucking movie, and oh my god, this movie is just, I love it. I feed off it. It reminds me of, I talk about it in my 8mm review. It has that vibe where it's just Hollywood is bad. Like Hollywood really takes advantage of people, and just how the lies and how the studios lie to you, the producers lie to you, and the cops lie to you, and there's so much cover-ups, and at the end of the day, all that matters is the money the studio makes, and a big studio made this movie was really impressive, and it's a crazy fucking movie. I remember the first day I watched it, it's like over 2 hours. I watched almost 2 hours of it. Then I had to leave for work. And then when I came back, my friends came back from work. My friends came over and I was like, I gotta show you guys this movie. Started from the beginning. So I basically watched it twice in one day. And just an amazing movie. LA Confidential. I 100% recommend that movie. This next movie is from the same director. 8 Mile. They're both directed by Curtis Hanson. This is another steel box that I have. Like I said, I don't really care too much for steel boxes, but it was cheap at Target, so I bought it. And I remember my uncle went to go took me to go see this movie in theaters, and I wasn't that happy. Like I wasn't that excited for it. I was like, whatever, you know. At the time, I didn't like Eminem too much. I was like 4th or 5th grade, so I wasn't too much into hip hop. But also Eminem, his life kind of reminds me too much of my life. Everything with his mom and his grandma. And so when I was a kid, listening to that, it kind of gave me angry feelings. So I kind of stood away from him. But I watched this movie and I was like, holy fucking shit, this is an amazing movie. And it's really good. Michael Shannon is also in that movie. And a good movie. Everybody probably has seen 8 Mile. Next is Peter Jackson's King Kong. This movie is epic, man. I really, really like this movie. I remember I watched this in theaters. I remember I went to go eat before the movie at McDonald's, and when I, like halfway in the movie, I was like, I'm fucking hungry again. Hurry up. But like, a part of me was kind of like, hurry up. But the other part of me was like, don't hurry up, because this movie is really good. It's got some horror elements into it. And just an entertaining movie. A big, epic, like 3 hours and 8 minute entertaining movie. I love movies that go past 3 hours, that are like that kind of, that length, you know. I like it. I love going to a movie theater and knowing I'm not going to leave for at least 3 hours, because I'd much rather have a movie too long than too short. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. A lot of people like this movie. It's the director's name? Edgar Wright. Guy who made Shaun of the Dead. This is a really good movie. He also made Baby Driver. It's a funny movie, and it's well made, and a lot of great people in it. Aubrey Plaza, Jason Schwartzman, Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who I love. I have a huge crush on her. She's bomb. Kieran Culkin. I love seeing Kieran Culkin in anything. I love seeing any of the Culkins. You know, I'm just obsessed with all the Culkin family. Everybody's funny in this movie. It's a really good movie. Milk. Gus Van Sant's Milk. The story of Harvey Milk. He was, I don't know what he was. Not the senator. He was trying to be mayor. I don't know what. Like the first gay politician in San Francisco. And this movie really kind of opened up my eyes to gay cinema. And I was just like, because you look at it, it's like, oh, we're gay in San Francisco, and we're gonna do gay rights. That's what you would, like, most people would look at it when it came out. And it took over the Academy Awards. Sean Penn won. He finally won for this movie. I think he should have won. A part of me feels like he should have won for Dead Man Walking. But I'm glad Nicolas Cage won instead of him that year. But I remember thinking, you know, dude, this movie has Sean Penn, James Franco, Josh Brolin, Emile Hirsch. And I was like, and it's Gus Van Sant. Gus Van Sant directed Elephant and Drugstore Cowboy. And I was like, I think I gotta see this movie. So I took a girl out to go see that movie, and it was like, holy shit, dude, this was amazing. And then I heard James Franco talk about how My Own Private Idaho was his favorite movie of all time. And I was like, I gotta check out My Own Private Idaho. And My Own Private Idaho is it's definitely like in my top 10 greatest movies of all time. I'm so glad. If anything, if I hadn't seen that movie, I would have never watched Mount Private Idaho. Like, I was like really into Gus Van Sant at that time. Not really into him, but I liked a lot of his movies because he made Elephant and Drugstore Cowboy and To Die For. I love To Die For. But then once I saw this, I was like, I have to watch absolutely every single thing Gus Van Sant has made. And Gus Van Sant is definitely one of my top 3 favorite directors of all time. Amazing, amazing director. And this is another movie he made, Good Will Hunting. I think the first time I watched this movie, I really liked it, but I wasn't obsessed with it. But now, every time I watch it, I just get way more obsessed with it. Man, Robin Williams, man. Robin Williams is one of my favorite human beings of all time. He is what an artist should be. He's absolutely laugh out loud hilarious, a mile a minute, but man, he gets so dramatic and so dark when he wants to. Because I grew up with 1 Hour Photo, and but also like Jumanji, and he's got it all. He had it all. Goddamn, I think about him every day. Robin Williams. I love Robin Williams so much, but man, I could talk so much about this movie. But Good Will Hunting, an amazing, amazing, amazing drama. Some people say it's overrated, but I think it's almost underrated because it took over the Academy Awards and it got the recognition it deserved. So next I have the Planet of the Apes box set, the original 5 movies. The first one's with 1968 Charlton Heston. And I'm so glad I bought this box set. I don't love all the sequels. Some of them kind of suck, but then some of them are really interesting. Really good special features on here. I love these. Planet of the Apes. Yeah, I love Planet of the Apes, man. They're fucking amazing movies. And I love the first one, and I love part 3. But I also grew up with there's a cartoon of Planet of the Apes, and I really liked that as a kid. I'm just going to go through my Planet of the Apes movies. So I have that. That's the first 5 movies. Tim Burton's remake of the Charlton Heston movie. It's kind of a loose remake. But Mark Wahlberg, Tim Roth. Tim Roth is so fucking amazing in this movie. Tim Roth, man. He's the villain. He's the guy. He's Mr. Orange from Reservoir Dogs. He's so good. You can't even tell it's him in this movie. But amazing. And a lot of people, this movie gets a lot of hate, but I really like it. I remember watching it in theaters and I really enjoyed it. I think it's a really good Tim Burton movie. It's one of my favorite Tim Burton movies of all time. Good remake. Really good special features on that. It has a great commentary with Tim Burton, and that was a really insightful commentary. The next, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, starring my man James Franco. This is truly one of the greatest action movies I've ever seen. I actually watched this movie 2 nights ago after work. It was like midnight. I got off work midnight, and I was like, I'm gonna put on a movie, and I watched this movie. Every time I watch this movie, it gets a million times more amazing. There's not one bad effect in this movie. Everything looks completely fucking flawless, and it's all CGI. And the relationship with James Franco and Caesar is just amazing. Everything about this movie is amazing to me. It's 100%. It's an A+ movie. Like I said, truly one of the greatest action movies of all time. It's got so much heart, emotion, and just action to it. It's so fucking badass. This is better than any of them to me. It's better than the original. It's so amazing. I feel bad. I gotta get the other 2, the ones that came after this, Dawn and War of the Planet of the Apes. But I'll buy those one day. I like those movies, but I don't love them. But I just kind of want, it's like an OCD thing. I want to buy it to complete the collection. But I have a lot of OCD things where it's like I need to keep getting them because I don't have them all. This is Essential Clint Eastwood Director's Collection. It's got 4 movies. It's got Letters from Iwo Jima, $1 Million Baby, Mystic River, and Unforgiven. I am obsessed with Mystic River. Sean Penn also won the Academy Award for this. He won for this and Milk. And man, Mystic River, man, it really touches me. That movie's sad, violent, scary, brutal, and kind of beautiful. Unforgiven is good. I really like Unforgiven. Letters from Iwo Jima is whatever to me. And I've only watched $1 Million Baby once, and I didn't like it. But I was really fucked up, so I'll give it another shot one day. People tell me, no, you gotta rewatch it, Money Monster. This movie is awesome. I saw this in theaters and it was just so entertaining. I was hooked into the story. I was just like, come on. Like, what? Oh, holy shit, dude. It's directed by Jodie Foster. It stars George Clooney. and it's just a really, really entertaining movie. If you've never watched it, watch this movie. Watch this movie. Another Sam Mendes movie, Road to Perdition. This movie's badass. It's a very classy gangster movie. Tom Hanks, Jude Law, Paul Newman. It's another Sam Mendes movie. The guy who made American Beauty and Revolutionary Road. It's got some good special features. I grew up with this movie. I didn't watch it a lot, but I remember my uncle had it on DVD, so I watched it a couple times, and it's just a really, really good movie. Road to Perdition. I recommend it. Another Fede Alvarez movie. The guy who directed the Evil Dead remake, Don't Breathe. I like this movie a lot more than the Evil Dead remake. A lot of people like this movie. This movie did really, really good. It's an amazing movie. I'm so glad I got to see this in theaters. I remember I bought this on Christmas morning. I went to Walmart with my sister on Christmas morning, and I bought this. I also bought Phantasm that day, which I lost, but I got another copy from a friend. The Sandlot. I love this movie. It's such a well-made movie. That it's amazing casting. You believe every kid in it, and the kids are really funny. The kids are really funny, and it's just a genuinely good movie. It's a kids movie that adults can like. And I hate baseball. I hate sports. Like, I just hate sports. I'm that kid who was always like, fuck sports. I want to sit home and watch movies. You know, I don't care about sports. This is such an entertaining fucking movie. I love this movie. Joaquin Phoenix's fake documentary, I'm Still Here, directed by his brother-in-law, Casey Affleck. Wow, this is the movie where it's pretending to be a documentary, but it was fake. And they tricked kind of the entire world. Some people didn't buy it, but some people did. Where he says, I'm quitting acting, I want to become a rapper. And I want my brother-in-law to film my career change. And me making my first album, you know, and like the road to making my first album. But it's really about this guy kind of losing, Joaquin Phoenix. He's losing his mind because he's so used to people being like, you're amazing, you're awesome, and everything you touch is great. I mean, yeah, he has some shitty movies, and he even talks about it. He's like, have you seen some of the fucking movies I've made? I'm used to humiliating myself, you know? But it's also about his ego and him not wanting to accept failure, and him being a dick. You know, he's a dick in this movie. And it's when he's a dick, God, it's so funny. This movie is so funny. Even the mean parts, you know, where he's incredibly mean to his assistants and people that work for him. He's an asshole in the movie, but it's fake. He's pretending to be an asshole, you know. Joaquin Phoenix is one of my favorite actors of all time. I wish Casey Affleck would make more movies, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. Chronicle. This movie is really, really, really good, really entertaining. I really like the actor in it. I don't know his name, but he's in he's Ryan Gosling's son in The Place Beyond the Pine Barrens. I think the kid is really good in this movie. Jeepers Creepers 3. There's a lot to say about this movie. It's not that great of a movie. It only had a couple days in theaters, but it's if you watch the first two, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. And now that I will rewatch it more, it's not as good. Definitely not as good as when I first saw it in theaters. I was just so happy to see it in theaters. I'm missing part 2, but I have Jeepers Creepers part 1. It's Scream Factory. So Scream Factory is always hooked up with special features. Every Scream Factory has this, or has the poster behind it, if you could see underneath. This was the original poster, and you could flip it if you want to flip the paper. But man, I'm gonna review Jeepers Creepers, and I'll just talk about that movie when I review it. But this is one of the greatest horror movies of my childhood. This was the first movie that I was genuinely afraid in the theaters, where I was like, oh, shit, dude. I was afraid when I rented it on VHS, and just an A+ of a horror film. Amazing. This is a movie that does not get enough credit. If you haven't watched this movie, fucking watch this movie. Copland. Sylvester. This is like the Expendables before the Expendables, but it's not like the action, like, which I like the Expendables Part 1, but what I mean, it's like the Expendables where it's like every single actor is completely amazing. They have their own movies. It's Sylvester Stallone, Harvey Keitel, Ray Liotta, Robert De Niro, Robert Patrick, Michael Rappaport, Annabelle Sciorra, she's from The Sopranos, Janine Garofalo, Peter Berg, the director. I love every single one of these actors. This movie is so goddamn amazing. This is James Mongoloid. He's the director of Logan and Walk the Line. And he's directed Two Lovers. He's an amazing director, but this movie is so badass. It's not as like what it looks like. You think it's going to be this crazy action movie. It's not like The Expendables. It's not like that. It's got some amazing violence and amazing action, but it's just a great subtle story. It's very subtle. And if you've never watched this movie, watch this. It's one of Sylvester Stallone's best movies he's ever made. It's probably my favorite Sylvester Stallone movie of all time, and I'm obsessed with the Rocky series. Phoenix Forgotten. This is kind of like cool. It's kind of like the Blair Witch Project. The whole movie is like on their camera. This kid is filming his sister's birthday, I think, and then outside he catches this UFO, and he gets to sell the tape to the news, and he makes some money, gets a little bit of fame, and he gets kind of addicted to that, and he wants to know what that UFO was. So they go, I don't know. So him and his friends kind of make like their own documentary about it, and they go to the fort. Where is it? The Nevada, the UFO sighting, Area 51. Oh, no, I don't know where it is, but they go into it looking for the aliens and looking for it, And I saw this movie in theaters on acid. I think I was on acid. I've seen a lot of movies in theaters on acid. I used to take a lot of acid. I'm a drug addict, but so I got to rewatch this movie again. I think I watched it once since I bought it on Blu-ray. Next, I got a few Christmas movies coming up. Home Alone 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Only part 1 has special features and has an amazing commentary with the director Chris Columbus and Macaulay Culkin. Buying it is worth buying it off that alone. It's so amazing, that commentary. Part 2 doesn't have any special features, but this is probably my most watched Christmas movie of all time. No matter what, I try to watch a handful of Christmas movies every year, but these two are the only ones that absolutely, no matter what, I always watch them on Christmas. Like I said, I'm just obsessed with Macaulay Culkin and his whole life and his whole family. And this movie they're just so funny to me. They're so funny and so well made and so genuine and sincere. So, what's there to really say about Home Alone? Next is The Nightmare Before Christmas. Amazing, a movie. Just an amazing movie. It's got some really good special features. I used to have it on the DVD as a kid. I remember I bought it at Disneyland. All my friends were buying, my cousins were buying toys with the money that they got. I bought fucking Nightmare Before Christmas on DVD. I had to step up, obviously, on Blu-ray. It's got the same special features. It's got the Vincent short film, and it's got the Frankenweenie short film, and it has introduction by Tim Burton. It's got some great making of special features. Just a great Blu-ray. Holiday classic. Is it another, I guess, it's a Christmas movie, definitely. The Night Before, starring Seth Rogen, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and what's his name? The guy's name? Anthony Mackie. They're both in it. Him and Michael Shannon is also in this movie, and they're both in 8 Mile. He's the one that, Anthony Mackie's the one that does the epic freestyle with Eminem at the ending, the big rap battle. This movie is the director Jonathan Levine. He made Warm Bodies and 50-50, also with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And I wanted to like this movie a little bit more than I liked it, but it's okay. It's not that great, but it's not bad. James Franco comes out in it, and it's an entertaining movie. The second time I watched it, I didn't like it as much. Hostage. This movie is amazing. One of Bruce Willis's best movie, and what's his name? Ben Foster is amazing in this movie. Jonathan Tucker. This movie, a lot of it was filmed in Glendora. I grew up in Azusa, California, and Glendora is the very next city. And so I remember people were like, "Dude, they're making this movie. Bruce Willis is making this movie up the street, and it's like a couple miles away from here." And the whole finale. They're at this like abandoned bar, which is was filmed in this bar in Azusa Canyons, and my house was less than a mile away from Azusa Canyons. And my friend's sister, she saw them filming this movie and she was like, "Oh my god, dude, I saw Bruce Willis. I saw Bruce Willis." And this is just, even though, so it hits home because it's like, holy shit, dude, this was a big action movie filmed in my town. And but even without that, this movie's amazing. It's in very suspenseful. Ben Foster's scary in this movie. It's one of Ben Foster's greatest performances of all time. And I love that movie. Hostage, man. Amazing action movie. One of Bruce Willis's best. Next, I got 28 Weeks Later. I lost part 1. You know, I moved around a lot, and I lived at a sober living house for a bit, so I'm pretty sure somebody stole a lot of my movies, and somebody stole part 1, but which I'll rebuy one day. But this is a sequel, 28 Weeks Later. Honestly, like this one way more than 28 Days Later. This movie is a crazy, insane, incredibly well-made horror movie. It's very violent, very scary. Great movie, great special features. This was like the first time I ever really noticed Jeremy Renner. The first time I noticed Jeremy Renner was when he played Jeffrey Dahmer in Dahmer. But this movie, he's like much buffer. This is a movie that I feel like kind of got him to be a big movie star, you know. And but just a really good movie. It's also Ross Byrne, right? Yeah, Ross Byrne. This is the first time I ever saw her. She's the wife in Neighbors, and she's in the X-Men remake. Not remake, prequels. So yeah, Pixels. Adam Sandler movie, directed by Chris Columbus. He made Home Alone 1 and 2, also the first 2 Harry Potter movies. It's a really cool movie. I saw this in 3D with my friend. We went to go see Vacation with Ed Helms, and then we snuck into this and we stole the 3D glasses while we got him out of that box. This movie's badass. This was really cool to see in 3D. The comedy isn't amazing, but just the special effects, and I love 3D, man. It took me a while to get into 3D. I know a lot of people don't like 3D, but it's amazing. This movie it's a good movie. It's not amazing. Well, it's the effects are amazing, but the comedy in the movie itself maybe isn't amazing, but it's worth watching. It's definitely worth watching if you like this kind of stuff, especially if you like just old video games. To see all the references, and it's about video games kind of take over the world, and they have to fight the video games, and a very entertaining movie. I really like it. Good special features too. Good special features. Another Adam Sandler movie, Billy Madison. This movie's hilarious. Chris Farley in this movie, when he's tutoring him, he's like, "That is correct," and he's like takes off his shirt. He's like, that shit is so goddamn funny. This movie is so funny for me. This movie it's a classic. Barry Levinson movie, Rain Man. I love this movie. Barry Levinson is a great director. I usually put the directors together. I have another movie over there, but I know why I separated. Really, really good movie. If you haven't seen Rain Man, you should check it out. Very entertaining. Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman are great. Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow. Wow, this movie is dark and violent, and every shot is beautiful. I remember I went to go see this in theaters as a kid, really, really late at night, and this was like 99, 98. And man, this was an epic movie experience. It was like, whoa, very gothic, and God, there's so many people getting their heads chopped off. This movie's violent. It's a violent movie. If you've never watched this movie, watch Sleepy Hollow. This movie was a big part of my childhood. I really, really loved this movie as a kid. It's one of Johnny Depp's best movies. One of Tim Burton's best movies. Joe Bit Taylor. I love this movie. This movie is so funny. You know, Seth Rogen and wrote the screenplay, and he wrote the story. And I think it's Stephen Brill. He's made he's directed some like Happy Madison movies. But you know, this movie came out right after Superbad. And this is PG-13. And Owen Wilson and Seth Rogen are both in You Mean Dupree. Seth Rogen has a small role in that part. So it's cool to see them reunite, even though Seth Rogen isn't in this movie. But this movie didn't do that great because of it was PG-13 and people wanted more like a movie like Superbad, you know? And they got it in Pineapple Express. But this movie's really good. It's about they go to McKinley High, which is the high school from Freaks and Geeks. If you pay attention, that's McKinley High. So he put that, it's a Freaks and Geek reference, so it's technically in that universe, I think so. Even though it's kind of a generic name. It's also the name of the high school in Final Destination Part 3, McKinley. There's a character named McKinley in that movie too. But the bully in this movie is what's his name? I think it's the bully in this movie is one of the shooters in Gus Van Sant's Elephant from his Columbine movie. So he got to play the kid who gets bullied and then does a massacre in an elephant, and then he gets to play the bully in this movie. Him and Josh Peck are bullies in this movie. I love Josh Peck, man. It's one of my favorite Josh Peck movies. And this is a really funny movie. I really recommend this movie. Next, I got Meet the Parents and Meet the Fockers. Fuck you. I love these movies. First one is they're both directed by Jay Roach. I need to buy part 3, Little Fockers. But part 1 is so funny. This movie is so funny. De Niro and Ben Stiller, just a great team. And I really like these movies. Part 1 is amazing. Part 2 is pretty good. And part 2 is good. It is. Really good movies. Really good comedies. I remember watching them a lot as a kid. Not a lot, but I remember when they came out, they were kind of a big deal. It's like De Niro and this great comedy. That's kind of the beginning of where De Niro started to make comedies. Because, back in the day, he usually just made drama movies, and he was such a serious actor. And then when he got older, he got really into comedies. And I'm so glad he did that with his career, Wow. The Fighter. This is an incredibly touching movie. It's David O. Russell. I really love his beginning of his career, but this is, to me, his last great, amazing movie. This movie's really sad and really powerful. It's a powerful movie for people who are just inspiring to further their career, or maybe not. I don't want to say be famous, but I mean, he wants to be a professional boxer, and he's Mark Wahlberg and his brother was a professional boxer, and who fought Sugar Ray Robertson, but then he became a crackhead. And this is just an incredibly touching movie, and it's sad. It's a sad movie. Christian Bale steals the show in this movie. He steals the fucking show. And Mark Wahlberg's amazing in it. I love Mark Wahlberg. But watch that movie if you haven't seen it, The Fighter. The next is a directed by James Franco movie. He directed it and starred in it. It's a John Steinbeck novel called A Dubious Battle. A lot of actors in this movie. It's got Selena Gomez, Ed Harris, Nat Wolff, Zach Braff, Robert Duvall, Bryan Cranston, Josh Hutcherson, Vincent D'Onofrio. But I bought this movie just because James Franco directed it, and I've never even watched it. So I'll watch it one day. I'm gonna watch it. The Da Vinci Code, directed by Ron Howard. This movie was epic when it came out. It was very controversial. I remember I went to go see the midnight screening when I was a kid, back when we had midnight screenings before the whole Dark Knight shooting. And this movie's it's over 3 hours long. And I fell asleep in the theater. But I've seen it once since. I haven't watched it since I got it on Blu-ray, but I remember watching it on DVD when it came out. And I don't love it, but I just bought it. I love this movie. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Brokeback Mountain. I love this movie. Ang Lee is an amazing director. This is the greatest Heath Ledger performance of all time, and Jake Gyllenhaal is amazing in this movie. I remember as a kid, like, when it came out, it was like right before The Dark Knight, everybody was talking shit like, oh, this fucking gay fag movie, whatever. And I was a little homophobic, a little too. I was like, what? Like, my uncle and his film student friends saw it, and they were like, Brokeback Mountain, dude, this movie is so goddamn amazing. I was like, what? Like, really? And I really loved his film student friends. He had this Asian friend called Nico. His name was Nico, and he put me in a couple of his short movies, so we really bonded. He's a really cool guy, and he was like, you gotta watch this movie. And I was just like, and I thought, you know what, they've never steered me wrong, and in a movie, so just hearing their recommendations, and I could really see that they love this movie, and I was like, I gotta check it out. And I saw my family rented it, and I watched it, and I thought it was okay. And then years later, when I was getting really obsessed with Heath Ledger, I rewatched it, and I went, oh my fucking god, this movie is beautiful. It's a beautiful, haunting, sad movie. And Ang Lee is just such an amazing director, and really good special features on here. Another Ang Lee movie, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I don't love this movie, but it's pretty great. I need to rewatch it. I've only watched it once as a kid. I haven't watched it since I bought it on Blu-ray. But I can't say that much about it, but Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. The Revenant, Leonardo DiCaprio. He finally won the Academy Award. I think he should have won for Revolutionary Road. This was amazing in theaters. This was an amazing movie. It didn't hold up as much on Blu-ray for me, because I already know what happened, you know. But this movie did a lot of people fucking saw this movie. Most people have seen this movie. Very entertaining movie. If you haven't seen it, seen it. Seen it. Next is a double feature, Alpha Dog and Assault on Precinct 13 remake. I love Alpha Dog. This movie, Alpha Dog, really inspired me as a writer, and it takes place in Claremont. And Claremont is like the next city after Pomona, where I'm living at now. And this movie just really hit home, you know. And I love these type of movies. Alpha reminds me of like Bully and Mean Creek and River's Edge, where it's about kids dealing with the consequences of murder. And Assault on Precinct 13 remake, it does some things a lot better than the original, the John Carpenter movie, but then it has some kind of dumb moments. Yeah, Assault on Precinct 13 remake isn't amazing, but it's a good movie. It's a good remake. Very fun movie. It takes a lot of changes, which a lot of the changes were really good. So definitely recommend both those movies, but Alpha Dog, I bought it because of Alpha Dog, but I'm glad I have Assault on Precinct 13 remake. Next, one of the greatest gangster classic movies of all, just gangster movies of all time, James Cagney in White Heat. Holy shit, this movie is amazing. This is the greatest James Cagney movie I've ever seen. James Cagney, he's the inspiration for Joe Pesci and Goodfellas and Casino. He's basically playing this guy, because this guy did a whole bunch of gangster crime movies where he basically plays kind of the same character, this ruthless gangster. And this movie's amazing. If you haven't seen this movie, watch it. If you love like black and white classic gangster movies, or just kind of like black, I think it's one of the greatest black and white movies I've ever seen. I love black and white. I love black and white movies. Really good special features. Just an amazing movie. James Cagney, man. James fucking Cagney is the man. I love this guy. Next, I got some Harry Potter movies. Part 1, The Sorcerer's Stone. Part 2, Chamber of Secrets. And then randomly, I'm not even sure what part this one is. And The Deathly Hallows Part 1. It's, I really love the first two. I love the first two, and then after that, I don't really care. But someone gave this to me as a gift. And Part 1 and 2 are amazing. They're amazing. Chris Columbus, man, the guy who directed Home Alone and Pixels. Really great director. Feast. This movie is insane. It's crazy. I remember the day me and my friends rented a whole bunch of movies at horror movies at the Dollar Video Store. It was like summer going into 10th grade, I think. We rented this, Wrong Turn 2, and something else. But it was something horror movie where it was all these bloody, insane, violent horror movies. And this was it was made from HBO, where they had that show Project Greenlight, where they give a first-time director $1 million to make their movie, and then they documented it as a show. And I had seen the other movies too. There's another one from Project Greenlight, The Battle of Shaker Heights with Shia LaBeouf, which is really good. But this movie, even without any of that, so if you like this movie, you should watch Project Greenlight. I think it's like season 3, where they just, the whole season is just them making this movie. It's really good. Crazy fucking movie. Crazy movie. Interview with a Vampire, one of the greatest vampire movies of all time. Tom Cruise is amazing in this, and Brad Pitt is great. Antonio Banderas, but Neil Jordan, man, a really good director, and this is an amazing movie. The Anne Rice. Anne Rice is such a good writer. She wrote the book. Just a great vampire movie. If you like vampire movies, watch this movie. But definitely one of Tom Cruise's best performances ever. The Hills Have Eyes remake, unrated. Oh man, this movie was one of the greatest movies. It was when horror remakes started getting really big when I was in 8th grade. After the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, they remade this, and a whole bunch of fucking remakes. You know what I'm talking about. Like House of Wax, and I saw them all. I saw them all in theaters. That 8th grade is when I was getting non-stop into horror movies, non-fucking stop. 8th grade was when I was in 8th grade, it was like 2006. It was just an amazing time to be a horror fan. And this is one of the best remakes, one of the absolute best remakes. Casper, starring one of my favorite actresses of all time, Christina Ricci. And I met Christina Ricci when I was a kid. Me and my sister were an extra in her movie that she filmed in Azusa, one scene, Pumpkin. So I got to meet Christina Ricci, and I was obsessed with her already. But then after that, it was like, oh my god, dude, she was so nice. I got her autograph, and we're in the very last scene of that movie, Pumpkin. But it's a really good movie. It's a great kids movie. It's just a good movie. I really like it. I really like the story. I love Casper the Friendly Ghost. I've always liked Casper. Just everything about that. Next we got Just Go With It. Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston movie. I think it's a funny movie. A lot of people don't like it, but you know, it's kind of stupid. But all of his movies are stupid. You know, his comedies. And but I like it. It's a funny movie. Next I have it's in this weird. I have another movie like this in this type of weird box I got at a pawn shop. Tim Blake Nelson's Leaves of Grass, starring Edward Norton in 2 roles. He plays his twin brothers. And this is a great fucking movie. I love Tim Blake Nelson. He's an amazing director. This is the only movie he's directed that he's in. And this movie doesn't get enough recognition. It really doesn't, but it's amazing. If you haven't seen Leaves of Grass, watch this movie. The next is one of the greatest horror movies of our generation. The Collector. I love this movie. This movie is so insane, so violent. Some people might consider it torture porn, but man, it's amazing. It's Mark Dunstan, and it's the writers of Saw 4, 5, and 6, which I don't like the Saw movies. You know, I love 1 and 2. After that, I don't like them. But this movie, man, if you want just a very original, violent, insane horror movie, this is it, man. It all takes place in one night, and the whole movie is just amazing. I totally recommend this movie for horror fans. I remember, I don't know, it was like, I showed it to my friend, his girlfriend, and his sister. My friend loved it, but the girls were watching the whole movie like this. They were just like, ah! Because it's crazy, and it's crazy. I love it, The Collector. Alright, so we're halfway done now. I just finished the first shelf, and now I'm doing, all my TV series, mini-series, anything that's like episodes, you know? That. First I have 4 out of 5. I gotta buy season 5 series of Boardwalk Empire. 1, 2, my favorite season. 3, and 4. This is one of the greatest shows of all time. It's them after The Sopranos, and if you like The Sopranos, watch it. Starts off in Atlantic City. In 1922, the night before Prohibition starts, and it's just about all the gangsters that say people are gonna keep buying alcohol. Now we're just gonna keep selling it illegally, and mark up the price. And it's basically half of it is a lot of the stuff that happens in the show is real. It's like half fiction, half non-fiction. But if you love gangster crime shows, this is one of the greatest series I've ever seen. Yeah, it's definitely like my top 2 or 3. After that, I got Ash vs. the Evil Dead, Season 1. It was a good show. Kind of lost me in Season 2. But, yeah. Got some good commentaries on there. Got some good special features. Good show. If you love Evil Dead, you gotta check it out. This is one of the best things HBO's ever made. Season 1 of Vice Principals. I gotta buy Season 2. It's only 2 seasons. I look at it as more as a mini-series. Because it gets the story. It's just 2 seasons, one big story, and it's an amazing show. Danny McBride and Walter Goggins. It's the creator of Eastbound and Down, and if you know Eastbound and Down from also with Danny McBride, Kenny Powers. If you like, it's not as crazy as Eastbound and Down, but it's just as funny and just as good. Honestly, I think it's a little better. Next, I got Hannibal Season 1. This is a really good show. It lost me in Season 3. It kind of lost me in Season 2. But Season 1 is pretty amazing. I gotta buy the other 2 just to have them. But if you like the Hannibal, you know, if you've read those books or if you like the movies, you should check this out. It's about Will Graham, who's the Edward Norton character in Red Dragon, and it's the prequel. It's about when him and Hannibal are working together, solving other people's murders, and he doesn't know that Hannibal is a murderer. Next is the one and only season of Vinyl. It's from the creator of Boardwalk Empire. After Boardwalk Empire, they got this. Martin Scorsese directed the first episode of this and Boardwalk Empire. This got canceled after season 1. Was supposed to have more, so this is it. And it sucks because they didn't get to finish their story. And it's just an amazing show. It's about a record producer in the 70s. And Keith Richards' son, he plays a huge part in it. And he plays like this rock star with this punk band. Really good show. I really recommend that show. This is a miniseries made by J.J. Abrams, 11/22/63, starring James Franco. This is amazing. One of the greatest miniseries I've ever seen. It's amazing. And I remember when I met James Franco outside of the bookstore, there was a gigantic billboard for this. So the whole time I was looking at it, and it was like, I think it was like episode 6. Like we were waiting for episode 6 to come out, which James Franco directed. I think it's episode 6. But amazing show. I love this show. Miniseries. Amazing. So great. Shameless, season 1. I absolutely love Shameless. It's amazing. There's so much talk about Shameless, but this is just season 1. I bought it just to get it. And this is probably the greatest miniseries I've ever seen. True Detective. Fuck yeah. Every single moment of this show is amazing. Amazing. It's just one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It's better than most movies, you know? It's like on that Sopranos level where it's like, holy fucking shit, dude. Really, really good special features. Great commentaries. Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson are so amazing in this. This movie really reminds me of, this show reminds me of Matthew McConaughey's character and performance remind me of his character in Frailty, where it's just a guy sitting down and saying, I'm going to tell you a story. And it's just amazing storytelling. Very dark movie. But yeah, True Detective, if you haven't checked this out, what the fuck are you doing? Check this shit out. So next is my prize collection. This is the absolute best thing I have on Blu-ray. It's my prized Blu-ray. The Sopranos. Entire series box set. I talked a lot about this on my first series watch episode of The Sopranos. I talk about the special features, so I won't go into it. But just like, if you don't know already, I make an episode, series watch, every single episode of Sopranos. And Sopranos is my favorite piece of art of all time. It's better than anything I've ever seen. It's better than any book, any movie, any record. It's just the greatest thing of all time. Sopranos is my favorite piece of art of all time. So I think every human being should watch this show. It's dark and violent, scary and savage, but so beautiful. It's the greatest story I've ever seen. It just has absolutely every single thing I could want in a storytelling. It's amazing. It's the greatest thing of all time to me. Sopranos is the greatest thing of all time to me.